Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm sure you're all super busy, so I really appreciate this hour of your time. I have a presentation for you here today. I will go ahead and just share my screen. Okay. So we will be talking about success made easy. And what I like to focus on is the secrets of utilizing energetics to skyrocket your business and anything else in your life that may be feeling stuck, right? So what does that even mean? All right, so what is your next step, right? A lot of times in entrepreneurship, we can feel overwhelmed because it's kind of a non-guidebook style job, right? We're always looking for the next step. We're always trying to figure out what to do next. So part of what I'm going to go over with you guys here today is helping you find your next step. So what are we going to talk about exactly? The secrets behind utilizing energetics, which we'll go into further a little bit down the line, to skyrocket your business and find out what it actually takes to skyrocket your business, your life, your relationships, your career, and what everyone forgets to tell you. So you will leave here having a plan with real value and money-making secrets. And I also just want to say, be sure to stay till the end because I will be giving away a bonus to the first 5 people that reach out to me that is worth $1,000. All right, so what I'm going to show you in this presentation is the proven blueprint that will help you raise your energetic frequencies. So we're going to be talking a lot about frequencies, vibrations, but it's going to be less in the spiritual type of way, more in the scientific with a little bit of spiritual. So it doesn't matter what beliefs you have coming in. It's more based on actual scientific evidence. We're going to be talking about epigenetics, also on success strategy, lots of different things in a holistic approach here. So how can you raise your energetic frequency? How can you up-level your strategy, which is really important? And how can you become the ultimate vibrational match for your dream life? All right, so it doesn't matter if you have all of the talent, passion, or a brilliant product. If you don't have the right strategy and mentorship, you won't be making as many sales as you could. And without sales, you don't have as much freedom. Without sales, it's a struggle. And I can say this because I've personally been there. I know in the first year of my coaching business, I had no sales, like zero. It was a zero number after an entire year. And it was really hard for me because I wasn't having that freedom I wanted. I was struggling. And something that inspired me to do what I do today, to work for other entrepreneurs and creatives and help them have success, is that it really is just strategy. It really is just those unique formulas for you and your business that you need to accelerate. But sometimes we feel a little lost. So I, in my own journey, sought mentorship, and that's something that helped me get to where I am today. Okay, so again, have a plan. If you plan to fail, you fail to plan, which means if you're not succeeding, it's likely because there's not a step-by-step plan that you can follow if you're not as successful as you would like to be, right? So this is something that I work with all of my clients. I set them all up with a plan specific to their business, energetically, strategically, whatever it is that they need. And this is what I did myself to go from broke and anxious to living my dream. So why listen to me? I went from making $0 for an entire year of business to making over 50K months in sales in my e-commerce business. I was unemployed, and now I am currently running 2 businesses, my coaching and my e-commerce business, from home and abroad. You'll see some pictures of Cancun in here, which is one of my favorite places to go. I also host retreats there. I went from 0 to 3 books published within a 6-month period, which was all after I did the work that I'm going to teach you guys here today. So you're going to walk away with a lot of value. One of these books hit #1 internationally bestseller. And I've also been featured in Fox, CBS, USA Today, etc. Was Brain's Global Top 500 Entrepreneur. And more importantly than anything else, my clients have gone from struggling in their business or their creative ventures, whatever it is they're pursuing, to succeeding at what they love the most and what we're really here to do, pursue our passion. So why do I say this? Not to brag at all. I say this because this was me 2 years ago. I was in a completely different place. And the reason I show you guys this is because no matter where you're at right now, no matter where you've been, does not determine where you're going, right? And so if I could get to where I am today, anyone can, right? So a couple of years ago, I was in a really toxic environment. I was really struggling with my business. I was working and going to school. I had to deal with OCD, PTSD, a lot of mental health on the side, so on top of everything else. And I just was ready to get up. I wasn't making any sales. I had zero safety net. And there were a lot of points where I just felt like, you know what? It's not for me. I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I can't do this. I just come from a background where it's not plausible, et cetera, et cetera. I had all these limiting beliefs pop up. So I want you to drop something in the chat box if you've also had the belief of maybe it's just not for me, or maybe if you've thought about giving up. I want to say too that a lot of times when we are in the place where we feel like giving up, or we feel like we're in a low point and we're questioning whether entrepreneurship is for us, is usually the point that once we push through that, right after is when we hit our first greatest successes. So if you are in that place, keep pushing. All right, these are just some testimonials from clients, some results. I'm showing you this because this is what wouldn't have happened if I had given up. I wouldn't be able to help all the people that I have helped. Our own decisions have butterfly ripple effects to the other people in our lives, the people that we serve. So it's really important to push through. And I'm going to be giving you guys the tools today to push through to do just that. Okay, so what is the problem that most entrepreneurs and creatives have? Most entrepreneurs and creatives are passionate, unique, driven, inspired, but there's a lot of people that just don't make it, right? So why is that? Well, they work really hard. We work harder than we're given credit for, right? I heard a quote that said, like, I would rather work 80 hours for myself than 40 hours for someone else. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel this way. So we're hard workers, but sometimes we're just doing the wrong work, right? So we don't have that strategy. We don't have that plan. We're wasting our time with the guesswork. They might lack support. And so they're just guessing, trying to put together their own recipe for success, and it's not working because it's not based on anything, right? So really having that clear strategy. Maybe they're not an energetic match for their desires. So we're going to talk about this. What vibration are you vibrating at? What are your emotions, your habits, your belief system? What is it that you practice on a day-to-day? How do you talk to yourself? What are your subconscious beliefs? What is your normal go-to when things get hard, right? So maybe they're just not there yet energetically. Another thing is their limiting beliefs are causing them to self-sabotage. So maybe you have all this strategy, maybe you've been successful, but in the back of your mind, you still have a bad relationship with money. In the back of your mind, you still believe you're not worthy, you still believe money is evil. Maybe you don't believe that you're worthy of a successful business, or you're dealing with imposter syndrome, right? All of these limiting beliefs can cause self-sabotage no matter how much of a plan that you have, right? So there's a lot of things that go into it, and I want you to just drop something in the chat box if you relate to any of this. Okay, so what I'm going to be teaching you guys here today is my effortless attraction formula. So how you can go from hopeless to abundant, or just not as successful as you would like to be, to super abundant and successful, using measurable results in a formula that I have practiced with myself and my clients, giving you the chance to become a vibrational match with your desires. All right, so before we go there, I want to cover this. Why do entrepreneurs fail, right? From the outside, being an entrepreneur looks amazing. You don't have a boss, you work your own hours, you follow your passion, et cetera, et cetera. You're creating something from nothing and you're making a difference. But it can get lonely, isolating, stressful, and honestly, just confusing. So here are some pressures that cause entrepreneurs not to succeed the way they would like. Most businesses, actually, I think it's 80% of businesses don't succeed, right? And so why is that? It's not because we're lazy. It's not because we're not smart. It's because of all of these pressures. So alignment is this even your true purpose, right? Sometimes we might go after a business venture because it seemed smart, but it isn't necessarily what we feel in our heart is right for us, right? We're not aligned with it. We just thought, oh, that's going to make money, so I'll do it, but you don't love it, right? So if that lack of alignment is there, it's going to be harder to manifest it. It's going to be harder to actually have the motivation and the energy to pursue it when things get hard. Motivation. So you're not always going to be motivated and inspired. So you have to find a way to become disciplined, right? So a lot of people feel like they would be motivated as entrepreneurs because they're working for themselves, but then they realize that you're not motivated all the time. So you have to find tools to push yourself into that state of motivation instead. So peers, comparison, especially if any of you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, social media, and you're seeing other people in the same businesses as you, or even just, people that are in the same businesses as you, or in life, whatever it might be, you think they're doing better. This can really cause stress, anxiety, feelings of unworthiness, and also push those limiting beliefs of I'm not cut out for this, right? When you are cut out for this, which is why you're here. So couple others, time management, you're wasting your time with guesswork, you don't have the best strategy, and so you're not able to plan your time as well. A lot of you guys are probably parents or might work another job and have loved ones, right? All the things that need time dedication to. So it's really important to have a strategy so that you can manage your time well. Not really having an effective goal strategy, not balancing well, not really being able to stay consistent, which makes you get burnt out, which makes you want to give up, right? So that kind of like domino effect going on, those limiting beliefs you talked about that lead to self-sabotage, procrastination, or a sense of hopelessness caused by a lack of direction and clarity. Now, this is all solvable, right? So those are blockages. However, they don't have to stay there. What you need in order to succeed and overcome those blockages is passion, perseverance, resilience, and positivity. So it's all about mindset, right? You need to have passion so you can enjoy the process. You need to have perseverance. So every time it gets hard, you get back up, even if you need to take a break for a while. You need to have resilience so that when people don't buy your product or service, you don't take it personally. You don't think it's about you not being worthy. And you need to have positivity and support for yourself, right? So if you're beating yourself up every time things go wrong, that does not lead to a successful business. But if you are encouraging, if you're your own best cheerleader, that will always keep you afloat, okay? So you need the right strategy. You need steps that work and motivate you to do more. You need the right mindset, recognizing your successes, celebrating wins. How many times have you felt like you're not making it the way you want to without even realizing how far you've come, right? The right habits, discipline, and focus to get it done, and the right you. So the version of yourself that is that CEO version of yourself, right? Not just an entrepreneur, not just a creative, but the CEO version of yourself that is ready to show up every day, do your best with the right alignment and strategy. All right, so in essence, you are what you attract, right? So you have to be aligned energetically for what you're working so hard to call in. You also have to have the right strategy to recognize and overcome what blockages have been coming in the way. So in my program, I combine my signature formula, which can only be found in my program, which is the best of the best neurolinguistic programming meets mindfulness, energy healing, and intuition, and also business strategy, branding, and marketing. I have a degree in marketing as well. So what do we talk about? Really money mindset, right? So what is your relationship with money? Did you grow up with not a lot of money? And so does that cause you to feel like there's a lack? Or did you grow up with so much money that you feel like you don't know how to handle it, that you're not worthy of it, that it's always handed to you? Did you grow up in a middle class mindset where maybe you're always kind of like the coupon cutter type thing? There's all those stereotypes, right? But a lot of times it actually can affect our money mindset and can cause us to have a relationship, whether you were on this side or this side in the middle of the money spectrum. We can all have bad relationships with money, just depending. It can affect us. There's things we're going to talk about a little bit later, but things you might have heard growing up, like money doesn't grow on trees, or, I am not worthy of this, it's too expensive, or all these things. We're going to go into a little bit more detail, right? But what does your money mindset look like? And what are the steps of action that you need to take in order to heal that so that you can begin to attract, right? Because when it comes to money mindset, if you have a negative money mindset, you're literally blocking the money from flowing in. Money is a neutral energy. It's not positive or negative. But if you have a negative energy attraction towards that money, it's not going to come to you. Instead, you have to feel not even super positive about it, just neutral. Like, I am working hard, I am worthy of money, and if it flows to me, it's meant for me, right? So doing those shifts, healing your energetic and subconscious blockages to manifest with ease and also to strategize with ease. One of my favorite things we're going to talk about later as well. Another one of my formulas in my program, which is productivity minus procrastination plus intuitive inspiration minus self-doubt, passion, intuition, mindset, business strategy. Another thing is that a lot of people think that success creates happiness. It's the other way around. Studies have actually found that happier people tend to be more successful because their brains are primed to find opportunity. They're primed to actually go after the things that are opportunities presented to them with more confidence. They're primed to, even if they're scared, go out of their comfort zone. They're primed to be more resilient, right? So how can you become happier to become more successful? How can you kind of shift your brain chemistry a little bit, and then easily applicable and powerful business strategy to get it right every time? All right, so success coaching with the right strategy and mentorship, you could have the world at your feet. I'm going to be telling you guys a lot about what I do with my clients and actually giving you some of the things that are in my program today. I'm going to have the bonus at the end, but also throughout this presentation, you're going to be getting tons of value and journaling exercise, applicable strategy that you can leave this presentation with, take home, and start working on your dreams right away. All right, so this is a phase 1 in my program. I'm going to be telling you guys about what I do and then teaching you some of the things. So self-awareness mastery, really important. Do you even know yourself? Where are you at right now? What beliefs from your childhood are affecting you today? What traumas have you experienced that you haven't healed yet that are causing your manifestations to be blocked, right? Who are you, and are you working on your entrepreneurial and creative journey from your true authentic self or from what you think other people want you to do, right? Wash out those old stories, wash out those harmful patterns, and then reprogram your DNA and heal yourselves by locking into your power from your highest self. You'll be aligned, inspired, and authentic. All right, I love this. Neurons that fire together, wire together. So what does this mean? Basically, when you think certain thoughts, right, it is way more powerful than we are taught, right? We're not really taught this stuff in school. But as a thought travels through your brain, your neurons fire together in distinctive ways based on the specific information being handled, right? And this can actually change your neural structure, which is also why, for example, in trauma, one way to heal trauma is by learning, because your amygdala shrinks during trauma. So it's helping that amygdala grow back to size, right? So you see your brain is always changing. When we are children, our neural structures, our genetics, the way our genetic activity occurs is being shaped by our life experiences. And what I'm going to teach you guys to do here today is to take that back into your own hands and create your own structures that will benefit you in the long run. So priming yourself for positivity, creating more positive cells, right? We don't talk about this stuff in normal society, but it is a way to not only create change by learning about it, writing it down, and applying it, but creating the change in your physiological form, in your body, in your mind, in order to create lasting change that you can take with you forever. So that way the success is not short-lived, it becomes a part of you, okay? So to switch your results, we have to switch your programming. Your programming is just the things that you have been taught your whole life, the thoughts you have been thinking your whole life, right? The way that you have been functioning your whole life. So if you're optimistic, if you're pessimistic, whatever it is that's not working for you, we need to switch your thoughts to switch your programming. So kind of goes back to what we talked with money mindset, other limiting beliefs that might be getting in your way. Now I want to ask you, have you ever heard, and if you relate to any of this, drop something in the chat, just drop a yes as well. Let me know what it is that you relate to. But have you ever heard money doesn't grow on trees? Did you ever hear that growing up? Maybe from a parent, a guardian, a teacher, your friends? Have you ever said, I can't afford that, right? This phrase is charged. And I grew up saying this every day of my life. When I grew up, we lived paycheck to paycheck, right? And so I had a horrible relationship with money when I started my business. And so my every go-to was I can't afford that. And that actually blocked my blessings. So working through those money mindsets to heal that, and rather than believing these things, believing I'm abundant and money will flow to me when I am aligned with my purpose. And again, have you ever felt not good enough? All right, so we're gonna do a little journal activity here. So building your six-figure or seven-figure mindset starts with building your six-figure or seven-figure self. So something that we do in phase 1 of my program is rebuilding yourself. So we do a lot of ego work and self-awareness work to get to know who you truly are at your core, your authentic soul self. But then we also work on visualizing, manifesting, and creating the version of yourself that you are just dying to be, right? And that you can be if you do this work, right? So who is your 6 or 7-figure self? What is she like? Go ahead and take 1 minute to just journal on this. If you don't have a pen and paper in front of you, you can do it on your notes, or you can just do it in your mind. I'll give you a few seconds to think on this. It's really important. How do you show up as that version of yourself? You can also go ahead and drop in the chat any ideas that come to you as well. All right. So phase 2. This is a quote from one of my favorite books by Sean Aker. It's The Happiness Advantage. And he says, habits are like financial capital. Forming one today is an investment that will automatically give out returns for years to come, right? That strategy, those habits, how you show up, okay? So phase 2, after doing all the work of realizing who we are, who we want to be, what we need to shift to become that version of ourselves, we learn the self-care success formula, right? So a different approach to success than maybe people who are a little bit more just directly business oriented, whatever feels right to you. This has more of my background in Reiki energy healing, mindfulness, hypnosis, NLP life coaching, right? I add that into here because I believe that success comes from a place not of just strategy, but also alignment and self-love. It truly, truly comes from a place of self-love, right? So what are the habits that you need in your life in order to succeed that you're not doing right now? And what are you doing right now that if you do more will help you succeed? How can you get out of your head and into your bank account, smash your limiting beliefs and blockages that are getting in your way, become your own best cheerleader, form that beautiful relationship of self-love and cheering yourself on all the time so that anytime something happens that's hard, anytime you doubt yourself, you have, rather than a voice in your head saying, I can't do this, you have a voice in your head saying, you go girl, you got this, right? And connect your intuition and your limitless source of power, which is your highest self, your true authentic self, and never feel burnt out again. How amazing would that be? Okay, become a super attractor. So this goes back to the laws of energetics. Are you aligned with the version of yourself in your life that you want to have? What do you need? A strategy, but not just any strategy. Your strategy must focus on vibrational alignment, cellular reprogramming, subconscious reprogramming, doing the work at that deep of a level so that the changes and shifts you make carry on for a lifetime and help you raise your vibration up to be a match to what you want, right? So what even is a vibration? We'll give you an example of low vibrational things, high vibrational things, right? So vibrational things can be thoughts, emotions, foods, activities, right? So let's say some low vibrational foods are things with a lot of sweets, processed foods, things that take your body a lot of energy to work through that aren't that good for you. High vibrational foods are like fruits, vegetables, lots of water, teas. It's actually raise your vibration. Crystals naturally have a high vibration, which is why people use them in crystal energy healing. And emotions can also be vibrational, right? So your thoughts can be vibrational. Low vibrational thoughts are complaining, I can't do it, I'm not worthy, I don't like this, ew, I'm so sad and depressed, whatever those like kind of like you just see a cloud raining over those thoughts. Those are literally low vibrational thoughts. And if you switch it, high vibrational thoughts are the opposite of that, right? Like it's hard, but it will get easier. I am worthy of all good things. I am loved and supported and guided. Yeah, I'm sad today, but tomorrow is going to be better, right? So you're literally raising your vibration with your habits, what you consume, your thoughts, your emotions, all right? So we do this in our program on a subconscious and cellular level. So most of my clients come to the table and they are incredible. They're incredible people. They have talent, they have drive, but they come to me because they're not a match for what they desire. And so they're having a really hard time reaching their full potential, and they know they are worth more. Ask yourself, have you ever felt like I'm here for more? I am meant for more, right? That's how they felt too. So my vibrational alignment formula has allowed my clients to go from businesses and ideas that are stagnant, unstable, to seeing all of their dreams on their vision board manifest in their real life. So it's one of my favorite examples. This is my client, Megan, and here is a screenshot. I use Voxer with all my clients. So here's a screenshot she sent me in Voxer of the vision board we created together in the program. And she circled keys in a house because within 3 months of the program, she literally manifested her dream house and bought it. So we are talking about how it looks like her manifestation, how she's going to celebrate her wins, right? We talked about needing to celebrate your smaller wins. Obviously, this is a big one, but celebrating every little point in your life in order to raise your vibration, keep you going, right? So within just a few weeks, she literally manifested her dream house. She had been living in an apartment her whole life, and she knew she was ready for this before when she came to me, when she started. She was in a completely different place, right? She had this amazing creativity. She wanted to be an author her whole life, but had never really started writing her book because she was scared. And now she is halfway through her book and has manifested her dream house within only a few months. Okay, so the Holy Trinity. What are some of the things that you need in order to raise your vibration and become an energetic match for your desires? Energetically charged and sustainable habits reserved. So what kind of habits do you have? What are some habits that you can look into in order to become higher vibing, right? So some habits that we teach in the program are things you hear about all the time, right? Like how to meditate if you have a hard time meditating, manifesting, practicing mindfulness while eating, walking, showering. You can literally practice mindfulness anywhere. Your hobbies, your passions, dancing, cooking, all of these high vibrational habits, and much, much more. There's an entire workbook in my program that goes into all of these different habits that when you really apply them in your life and you find a way to keep them in your schedule, adding balance to the work that you're putting in, you're consistently, constantly raising your vibration, but you're also keeping yourself motivated by doing things that raise your vibration throughout the day, keep you active, keep you happy, keep you going. All right, so changing your genetic attraction makeup and your potential. When we do the inner work, you're literally charging yourself powerfully to be able to attract at a higher level, right? So what changes is your genetic activity. So there are different chemicals that regulate your cells, and when you are thinking negative thoughts, they actually release certain proteins versus when you're thinking positive thoughts. This shapes your cells, right? So we're not going to go a lot into it, but just so you know, your thoughts can change your chemistry. And so it's really important that we work on finding ways to reprogram according to what you need. So whether it's at a cellular level, whether it is your subconscious mind, we work a lot on the subconscious mind. I studied hypnosis as well. So we do some of that type of work, reprogramming, and just allowing you to become the most powerful version of yourself, the most powerful version of yourself that you already are, that you have her within you. You just haven't found the right strategy necessarily to get to her. So that is what I will be teaching you. And again, connecting to your intuition and highest guidance. So we go over that as well. How can you connect to your intuition? How do you tell the difference between intuition and fear? Have you ever struggled with that? Like not knowing if it's anxiety or intuition, right? A lot of people do. I know that I did, right? So connecting to your higher self. Whenever you have a question that you need answered and you seek outward guidance, I teach you how to seek that guidance from within so you never have to feel lost again, okay? Alrighty, so we're gonna do another exercise. So like I said, a large proponent of success is optimism. So you're priming your brain to see opportunity, to chase after it, to maintain your belief and your effort. When you're an optimistic person, you are less likely to be shut down. Even if something hard happens, you're able to rise up above it. You don't take things personally. You see opportunity everywhere because you're optimistic, right? So this is a huge proponent of success. Again, you might already have all the strategy, but maybe you haven't done the inner work, and that is where we're going to focus, right? So what shifts need to be made in your life to create these changes in your body and your mind? Are they negative thought patterns that you need to shift into positive thought patterns, which will do that reprogramming right in your subconscious mind, your genetic activity? Or maybe it's your relationship with yourself. How are you treating yourself? How are you talking to yourself? Do you nurture your body with healthy foods? Do you spend time in the sun? Do you work out? Do you even know what self-care habits are important, right? So like, how do you prioritize yourself? Do you treat yourself the same way that you treat someone you really love? Okay. Your daily habits, your conscious habits, your energetically aligned habits, and your connection to your intuition. So which one of these is it? Is it something else? Take out a pen again and do a quick journaling exercise. Get a vision on this. Again, if you don't have a pen, you can do it on your notes, on your phone, your iPad, or you can just do it in your mind. And I'll give you another minute. Okay. So the next steps. It's your practical application strategy, right? So now we're talking rather than the things that we don't really see, right? So those changes on a really deep level. Now we're talking about applicable strategy, right? So you have this life-changing formula and you've genetically programmed yourself for success, which is pretty powerful, right, to begin with. But now you need a clear strategy. This is why I call it my 3-step strategy to success, because there's a lot of different aspects involved. And just my personal belief is that we really need a holistic approach to be able to do something like this, be able to run your own business. Because let's say you're successful, but maybe you don't feel fulfilled. Or let's say you're successful, but you don't feel joy. Or let's say you're successful, but in your day-to-day life, you don't do anything that you love, or you don't spend time with your loved one. There's so many things that go into being an entrepreneur. So even if you already found that success, but you feel something's missing, there's things that you can do, such as healing your relationship with yourself, finding those vibration elevating habits, so many things that you can do to create a lifestyle that is not only success in one area, in relationships, in your career, in your business, but all around, so that you can wake up not only proud of your business or wake up not only feeling good, but both, right? You wake up excited for the day because you're doing what you love. You're not stressed about it. You're not burnout. You have a clear strategy. You know how to treat yourself with love. You know how to go through the day with time management practices. You know how to go after your goals motivated. You know how to give yourself space. You know when to spend time with your loved ones, when to celebrate and go on trips and do amazing things for yourself, right? So it really is, life is a holistic experience. And so this is the way that I teach my success strategy. So this is important because you need something that you can replicate over and over again, so that when times get hard, you can just pick yourself back up and keep skyrocketing your sales. So a clear strategy is literally where the gold is, right? So you've done all the other work, the internal work, you figured out who you are, what you need, are you truly aligned, what you need to become aligned. You've done the work, you've done the reprogramming of your subconscious mind, you've changed your habits, you've healed your relationship with money and with yourself. But now you need a strategy. So this is how I generated multiple 20 to 60K months in my businesses in less than a year in my e-commerce business. And I did this using my passion and action formula, which I also teach in my program. So phase 3, practical application strategy. So another quote, without action, knowledge is often meaningless. As Aristotle put it, to be excellent, we cannot simply think or feel excellent, we must act excellently. So maybe you are thinking and feeling excellent at this point after all that work, but now we have to act that way too. We have to show up that way. So like that exercise we did, the version of yourself that is 6-figure, 7-figure business owner, in order to be her, you have to show up as her already, right? So how do you do that? learn how to master vision and purpose in order to skyrocket your goals and growth, overcome blockages, right? This is something that a lot of creatives and entrepreneurs struggle with because we are perfectionists. We doubt ourselves. We're afraid because entrepreneurship is not for everyone, right? So it can be really scary. And procrastination too, as well, which goes hand in hand with perfectionism a lot of the time. And then finally, stepping into your most powerful self with unbeatable strategies for motivation, goal setting, and profit soaring productivity. So this is phase 3 in the program. So what is the passion and action formula? And let me know in the chat box below if any of these resonate with you, any of these blockages or any of these strategies. These are some of the most common blockages that entrepreneurs and creatives face. So being afraid to go out of your comfort zone. Maybe you are a brilliant artist, but you really don't love talking to people, right? Like you could be super introverted and still be an amazing business owner, right? So how do you overcome that fear of going outside of your comfort zone? Perfectionism and procrastination, self-doubt and limiting beliefs. Do you really believe that you're worthy of this? Do you really believe that you can? And let me tell you one thing too, if you're here right now, you can. You're still here for a reason. Nobody else would have shown up for this webinar except someone who is a true entrepreneur at heart, right? But sometimes we do have these limiting beliefs, which we just have to work on reprogramming and healing, and that's okay. Maybe worrying about what other people think, lack of clarity, clear strategy, like we talked about, or a negative self-talk and a lack of true self-love. So what is true self-love? We go into that in a lot of the program too, but it's not just like spa days, right? And going to the nail salon. It's really the way that we treat ourselves, the way that we look at ourselves in the mirror, the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we hold ourselves when we need to be held, right? Okay, so dealing with these blockages, what are some essential strategies that we need to understand and learn in order to be able to overcome them? The first is motivation. So what is your motivation type? So there's in NLP, we teach that there's a lot of different types of motivators that people have. So some people are the dictator motivator, where when you're trying to get motivated, you're literally telling yourself what to do. So you're like, Lenore, go do it already, right? Like in your mind, you're telling yourself. Some people motivate themselves by imagining an unpleasant task. So it's like, let's say that you have to go clean the litter and you really don't want to. You're thinking about it. And rather than actually being motivated, it demotivates you, as does the dictator. And so does thinking of everything and getting overwhelmed. Thinking about everything that you have to do causes you to get overwhelmed rather than chunking it down, right? And so these are a bunch of different common motivating strategies, but what we do is we take whatever your current motivation strategy is, whether it's this or something else, and then we switch it up with something that's more helpful for you. So whether that is with replicating your visual, auditory, or kinesthetic state when you're more motivated, or immersing yourself in the experience of having it done. There are a lot of different strategies that we teach, but it's really important because you're not always going to be naturally motivated, right? So you have to learn how to become motivated and disciplined. Productivity. So we talked about balancing out your day with these high vibe habits. So finding kind of not getting up all day and working all day. So you get up at 7, you work all day, and you close your computer at 8, right? Like that's really, it's not healthy. It's going to keep you low vibrational. You might think it's high vibe because you're working a lot, and that's great. But when you don't balance it out with things that are good for your physical health, your mental health, it's going to keep you at that low vibration, right? So how do you do that? How do you create intentional to-do lists? Some of us make to-do lists, but then we don't do it, right? Like I used to struggle with this a lot. So creating intentional to-do lists, for example, something that you can do is after your morning routine. So creating a morning ritual that works for you. And at the end of it, create a top 5 to-do list of the things you need to do in order, and then write it down and keep it in your back pocket so you don't have to check your phone and get distracted. And then just do it from the hardest one to the easiest one. So you get the hardest ones done out of the way. You're less likely to procrastinate and you're more likely to stay on time, right? And that way, in the breaks in between the things you have to do, you can reward yourself with the high vibe habits, right? So you see how it all goes together. And finally, the quad map, which is another thing we teach in NLP, we can be in different physiological states. So you can be in kind of like a down and depressed state where you really don't feel like doing anything. You can be in like a go, go, go state, you know, when you're doing like Zumba at the gym and you feel really energized. You can be in a state that's kind of like neutral. There's different states you can be in. So figuring out, learning this well so you can figure out what state you're in at the time whenever you want to change that, and then learning those strategies to change it. So let's say you're in the water quad and you're feeling unmotivated and down and depressed, you don't want to do anything, and you want to get into the fire quadrant, which is when you're energized and you're working and you don't have to like worry about being motivated because you're so powered through. We teach strategies how to get there as well. So lots of stuff with productivity. And then finally, goal strategy. So chunking down your goals to make them so easy that you can't not go after them, right? Like you want to go after them because they're so small, they're so easy to do. So I help my clients do this one-on-one. And then we also work on NLP outcome specification, which is another way to do your goals by design. It really, I give you a set of questions that helps you break it down in a way that, again, it's so easy that you have to go after it. You want to go after it. And it's done in a way that makes it very feasible and applicable in your life, no matter what your schedule is like. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to your why. So that is your purpose, right? So again, like I said at the beginning, sometimes we go into an entrepreneurial venture because we believe it is profitable, but we're not passionate about it, right? So really diving deep into, am I really, really passionate about this, or should I shift into something else? I know when I started my coaching, I switched niches. I can't even count the amount of times, like 10,000 times, right? And I had to wait until I got to something I was really, truly passionate about, because until then it was not working. So maybe it's even more extreme on your end. Like maybe you are pursuing building an app, but you like hate it, right? And maybe you would be happier pursuing becoming an author, right? Not saying this is you, but it happens. And I just want to say that if that is where you're at, it's okay. Most entrepreneurs, most successful entrepreneurs start 2 to 3 businesses that fail before they find their successful run, right? So if you haven't been successful thus far, sometimes it's a strategy, sometimes it's the programming, but also sometimes maybe you just have to switch what you're going after. You're meant to be an entrepreneur, you're here, but what is your purpose, right? So finding that why, subtracting those blockages, right? So whether that's procrastination, perfectionism, not wanting to go out of your comfort zone, worrying what other people think, lack of clarity, getting those out of the way. We teach that a lot in our program, and also adding strategy. So motivation strategy, productivity strategy, business strategy, marketing, all of those things. This is passion action with equals success. All right, so I think this is the last activity, but journal on this for a moment. What is your why? Really, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you start your business? Maybe what is getting in the way? If you haven't been as successful as you would like to be, why? What do you, out of those blockages, what did you really resonate with? Really just take a moment to think about that. And lastly, what if you are doing correctly? Like maybe you're really motivated, but you could be more so. Maybe you're pretty productive, but you could be more so. What can you improve out of those things that would skyrocket your sales? So just take a moment, journal on any one of these questions. And these are some stats on the side, just some results that I've gotten just from replicated these exact strategies that I'm teaching you today. So these are things you really want to pay attention to, guys, because they're going to change the way you do business. Awesome. All right, so what does this give us? Where does this leave us? It gives you a plan. All right, so a real tangible plan. That's what we're focusing on. That's what we're talking about here today. This is the Successful Entrepreneur's Blueprint. It is how you will skyrocket your success using these time-tested formulas that will save you time, money, energy, guesswork, and a lot of overwhelm and frustration. I like to tell my clients, run the business, don't let the business run you, right? So how do you become the kind of person it truly takes to build that sustainable 6 to 7 figure business? And finally, you're getting a real blueprint based off hundreds of case studies and science-backed research. Just get off the entrepreneurial roller coaster and find that stability in your success. So where do most people lose? They lose money due to burnout, those periods of highs and lows, right? Think about whenever, if you're not taking care of yourself correctly and you get burnt out, how much, profit are you losing in that period of time when you're not able to be productive? And also it's affecting your mental and physical health, your relationships. They lose time due to a lack of a clear strategy, time is money, right? They lack support, so they end up wasting even more time and money with guesswork, overwhelm, not having clarity in their path, or those subconscious blockages, right? Maybe you have the best strategy in the world, but deep, deep, deep down, you are not in alignment, right? Or rather than waking up excited, like we talked about, and full, ready for the day, many feel lost and question whether they are cut out for this. Could be a matter of passion, it could be a matter of strategy, it could be a matter of any number of things that we talked about today, right? But the good news is, the truth is that burnout is manageable and even avoidable with the right mixture of conscious, high vibe habits. If you have the right strategy, the right high vibe habits in your life, you're treating yourself well, you're your own best friend, you're in alignment with your passion and purpose, you don't ever have to be burnt out again, right? Countless hours can be saved simply by learning the right motivation, productivity, and goal setting tools. So maybe you are aligned with your purpose and maybe you have a good strategy. Maybe you don't deal with a lot of blockages, but you're not that motivated, right? Or you have a hard time being productive, right? So setting those goals, setting that productivity, overcoming that procrastination and self-doubt. What are those fears that come up for you when you close your eyes and you imagine yourself being successful? What comes up, right? Do you believe, is the first thought that pops up in your head, I can do this? Or is it, I'm not meant for this, right? And also it's a sign of strength to ask for help, right? I know that if I hadn't had the mentorship I had, I wouldn't be here today, right? So giving yourself the grace to not know everything. We do not wake up successful. We do not wake up one day knowing everything about business or whatever it is that you're doing, right? Allowing yourself the grace to have support. And finally, every single person goes through doubts, no matter what, right? No one is 100% believing in themselves all the time. But with the right mentorship and strategy, you can finally focus on your passion rather than stressing out about everything else involved, right? So when you're able to have someone guiding you and supporting you, you can focus on what it is that you love rather than worrying about the productivity, the procrastination, the motivation, the strategy, because you're being taught all that in a clear and concise way that is time tested as well. Right, so take back your time. In essence, why are all of these things important that I'm teaching you today? Because life is more than just business and money. Life is the time that we have every day throughout our life to dedicate to the things that we love and the people that we love too, right? So number one, how much time and money have you lost simply because you didn't have the right success strategies under your belt? But also, how many moments, right? So when you are able to have the right strategies, when you are able to create a lifestyle based off things that work and have worked, you are able to save that time. Time is money in business, and every minute you can be more productive, more aligned, or more motivated, more fulfilled is another dollar you could be earning. And also think about the people in your life too, right? On the right are some pictures of family that I just went to visit in California recently. I was in a hustle and grind state for a long time in my business. I believed that all it was hustle and grind. That's what I needed. And it wasn't true. I wasn't seeing the people that I loved. I wasn't giving time to myself. And so when I was able to use these strategies and I find these strategies and use them, I was able to create a lifestyle that I love, not only because I was pursuing my passion, but because I could spend time doing the things that really matter too, like being with family and friends, doing the hobbies that I love too, on top of my business, right? So for a long time, I felt like I could just do things on my own. But eventually I just got tired of wasting my own time. And the hustle and grind is not it, girls. Like it really is about that balance. Balance is key to everything. And in order to have balance, finding those strategies that work for you. So taking home all these journal exercises that we've done today, really work on how do you want to show up? Who is your 6 to 7 figure self? What changes and shifts need to be made based on the things that you learned today? And how can you start to do that, right? So I decided to invest in mentorship when I started my business. When it wasn't working out, and it was the best decision I've ever made, because now I get to help people in a very similar way, help people save time, save money, and be able to be their best level self. So high-level mentors. Before I got mentored, before I learned the strategies that I need, and before I came up with my own strategies that now help my clients, I had the worst relationship with money and success. So I was so afraid of spending money. and subconsciously of earning it too. Like I said, I grew up with that paycheck to paycheck mindset. And so I never felt like there was enough. I had this major lack mindset that was keeping me from investing in myself. It was keeping me from spending money on the things that brought me joy, and like a plane ticket to see family, right? So once I invested in my first program, something really magical happened. And goes all the way back to that energetic attraction formula, right? I went from 0 clients to fully booked in 3 weeks. But it was actually less of the strategies that I learned, and it was the alignment place I was. And why do I say that? Because I hadn't even I had done like 10% of the program, right? Like I hadn't learned that much. I wasn't doing much different in my life, but because I had invested in myself, I was aligned with that vibration, and I was able to then receive, right? Because if you think about it this way, maybe you're writing 10K months in your journal, in your diary every single day, right? And you're trying to manifest. And maybe you even believe you're worthy, right? Which is great. But if you are afraid to invest in yourself, the vibration that is going out into the universe is not the 10K months you write on your journal. It's that fear vibration and that lack vibration, right? The universe responds to abundance, which is why the outside world is truly a reflection of our internal world. So when we treat life as if it's abundance, when we show up with that abundance mindset, we receive abundance back. This is a client of mine, and back to the story I was telling with those screenshots, she found a house, she found her dream house within just 3 months. She bought her dream house within just 3 months. And she also started writing her book after years of wanting to write a book and never starting. She had this brilliant idea, but when we started working together, she felt unworthy of pursuing it. She was afraid to pursue it. She felt like it wouldn't work out. She had all these doubts and limiting beliefs, whereas she's truly an incredible person, right? And she had no reason to worry, but there was just subconscious programming, right? She told me at the beginning of working together that she felt like she tells herself like, no, I have enough. Why reach out for more? And she wouldn't give herself that, right? So we worked on self-love. We worked on elevating her vibration. We worked on strategy. And now she's living her dream life. She's planning a beautiful trip soon to travel around the world. And she's writing her book, and she's going to live in her dream house within just 3 months, right? So something that she told me is that before investing, she was terrified to invest. And that's why she waited so long. But once she invested, she was like, why the heck did I wait so long, right? Like all that time that I lost. And something that I like to say that I heard from my first mentor that I love is we have one life, and some people aren't running toward their dreams like they're on fire, right? Like one life. What are you going to do with it? Are you committed to your business? Are you committed to your passion or not? That's something that we have to ask ourselves. How committed are we? How much of a purpose is this for us? And if it is our true purpose, why don't we go after it with all we have, right? Right, so remove the guesswork. This is another one of my clients at the bottom here, Leda. She made top 30 influential entrepreneurs of 2021. A few other clients, this is a screenshot one of my clients took of me, and she put me on her story. She's really sweet. So far everything has been over Zoom. But as you can see here, I'm starting to do more things in person now that COVID is finally starting to go away. So I do offer retreats as well alongside my online programs. And it's really incredible to be with people as well in person. Finally, this was a Reiki session. So that's always really fun to feel that energetic alignment with someone else. But removing the guesswork, right? So what is it that you're still struggling with it? After watching this entire presentation, what resonated with you? Are you currently showing up as your 6-figure self? Do you have conscious habits in your day? Or are you still burnt out and confused? Are you successful but not feeling fulfilled? Or are you feeling super purposeful but without a strategy, right? What resonated with you? What can you take home and work on? And if you are really ready to dive all in, why not just remove the guesswork and follow a program that actually already has all the answers you need, right? So remove the guesswork, pursue your passion, get the answers so that you can focus on your purpose, right? We only have one life, so